Yes, we are here again. I hope you are feeling good. And I will explain in a few moments why I am late. I have a very good excuse. Here we go again. Yes, we are back once more. It is another English Addict Live coming to you, well, not on time, but at least I am here. Coming to you live from the birthplace of the English language, which just happens to be England. This is the reason why I am late. This might look like a very simple object, but this particular thing caused me to be late today. It is a light bulb, one of my light bulbs that I use to light my studio with. And unfortunately, just as I started to prepare to come on air, this particular light bulb decided to blow. So when a light bulb stops working, we say that it has blown. Or if it is the action, it blows. So this rather innocent-looking object is the reason why I am late here today, for which I apologise. And I couldn't find a replacement for the bulb. So if the light in here seems strange today, I apologise for that. But it is because this light bulb decided to blow. It stopped working. And to be honest with you, I couldn't find a replacement. I know somewhere in my studio there is a replacement, but I can't find it. I was looking everywhere. And then I realised that I was late for my live stream. So everything started to become rather chaotic, to say the least. Anyway, I am here, and I hope you are as well. Hi everybody, this is Mr. Duncan in England. That's me. How are you today? Are you okay? I hope so. Are you happy today? I hope you are feeling happy as well. We are here once more, live on YouTube. Do you ever watch anything else on YouTube besides me? Now please be honest. Now we all like watching all sorts of content here on YouTube, including me. There are many things that I like watching, some things that maybe other people might not like, and maybe other things that you might be surprised by. But I do like to watch all sorts of different types of content. And I'm not talking about people teaching English. So I'm not talking about English teachers. I'm talking about anything, comedy, music, anything. So I do like to watch different types of things on YouTube. One thing I don't watch very often are live streams, which might sound strange. However, now and again, there might be special live streams that are being put out by news organisations, such as Russia Today, or sometimes CNN, or Fox News, or sometimes the BBC will also do live streams on YouTube. So, yes, I do sometimes watch live streams, but they tend to be related to the news or something that is happening at this moment. I suppose, talking of which, we have the Olympic Games taking place at the moment. Has your country won any gold medals? It is a very unusual spectacle. A very unusual situation. I've never seen the Olympic Games look the way it does at the moment. Now, I remember many years ago when Russia was hosting the Olympic Games, there were many disagreements, there were boycotts, some people refused to go and compete, and there was all sorts of chaos. But I think the Olympic Games that was postponed from last year, I don't think that's ever happened before. Well, I suppose during World War II it happened, but I don't think the Olympic Games has ever been postponed for 12 months and then put on a year later. I don't think it's ever happened before. So can I just say congratulations? I don't want to sound patronising, but we are living through some very strange times, and I think for Japan to be able to actually put on the Olympic Games, even though some people do disagree and some people feel maybe it is not safe, but I think what is happening at the moment is quite remarkable when you think about the whole wave of difficulties that are facing not just people in Japan. I know around the world we all have some difficulty to face, but I think it's pretty amazing, to be honest. I was rather impressed. I suppose the opening ceremony was a little bit low-key. It wasn't quite as extravagant as it normally is, but very good. Well done to Japan, by the way. And I think also China. I think China actually won the first gold medal at the Olympics. Is that true? So I think during this particular games, I think China was the first country to win a gold medal. Very nice. So all of that is going on. If you want to talk about the Olympics, you can. If you don't want to, then you don't have to. It is up to you, really. We have Mr. Steve coming later on. We also have, we have the sentence game. We are also talking about a subject which I've talked about in the past, but never very deeply. However, today I'm going to. Here's an interesting question. What is normal? It's an interesting word, a simple word. It seems like a word that is in common use, and maybe we use it sometimes to describe a thing that we agree with. Maybe you agree with something. Maybe I agree with something. Something that you see as normal. So I suppose today, what is normal? It's a good question, because we live in a very strange age where normality, or what people see as normality, is often being questioned. So I think that is a good talking point today. If you want to talk about that, you can. What is normality? What is normal? Are you normal? Am I normal? Please don't answer that. Okay, we might answer that question later on. Am I normal? Well, I suppose coming onto YouTube and doing live streams, first of all, does separate you from the human race, from everyone else on the planet, because not everyone wants to do this. Not everyone wants to show their face on the internet. So maybe I am not normal. Maybe I am very strange or weird or unusual. Anyway, we will talk about that a little bit later on. We have Mr. Steve, as I mentioned, and yes, we have made it all the way to the end of another week and also the weekend. And I suppose this is the last, it is the final English Addict of July. Yes, it's Sunday. Do you know what I watched last night? I will give you a clue. Nessun nome, nessun nome. I watched Pavarotti last night. It was incredible. It was amazing. It was brilliant. It was an outdoor concert that Pavarotti gave way back in 1991. It was a big event, and I think it was also televised all around the world. But it is very easy to forget that these days we don't have performers like Pavarotti. It was the most amazing performance, and one of the reasons why I always remember that particular concert is because throughout the whole concert, so there was Pavarotti on the stage giving the most amazing renditions of all of the songs that he loves to sing. I wonder if Pavarotti used to sing in the bathtub. I wonder if Pavarotti ever sat in the bath and sung to himself. I wonder if that ever happened. I don't know, because I wasn't there, you see. I wasn't in the bath with him, as far as I can remember anyway. But I always remember that particular concert because it rained all the way through. And I still remember there was Prince Charles and Princess Diana. They were both sitting in the audience and they were soaking wet. And I've never seen that before. I've never seen anyone from the royal family looking quite as miserable as they did, sitting in the rain, watching Pavarotti. But it was amazing. But we don't have anyone anymore. We don't have anyone like Pavarotti. He was not just a star. He was like a god in the sky. He was an operatic god, I think. But we don't have people like that anymore. It was amazing to watch, and all I could think of during that particular concert was, imagine being there in the audience, and there you are, looking at someone like Pavarotti singing live. What an amazing thing to tell your children and grandchildren in the future, that you saw Pavarotti singing live. It's like a little bit of history, really. Amazing. But yes, I do miss that. I do miss people like Pavarotti, people who really knew how to perform. Even if you didn't like opera, you could still appreciate the immense talent that Pavarotti had. He really was an amazing person. Well, we are live today. I hope you're having a good day. Mr. Steve will be here soon. And yes, I am slightly late. I've had a busy week. I went to see my mother yesterday. I will tell you all about that later. I might even show you a photograph of me with my mum yesterday. Would you like to see that? I might show that to you later on. We will see. Anyway, we have a lot of other things to talk about today. We have Mr. Steve's crazy dahlia. Would you like to see Steve's dahlia? You won't believe it. So there it is. I don't know what's happened this year to Mr. Steve's flower. So this is the flower that grows every year. But I don't know why this year Mr. Steve's dahlia looks incredible. Look at that. It's gone absolutely crazy. And there is Steve, peeping through the flowers. So at the moment, this flower, I don't know why, but it's gone crazy. I think Mr. Steve might be feeding it steroids. He's giving it something to boost its growth. But there it is. The lovely dahlia, which this year has gone absolutely crazy. We might have another look at that. I might even ask Mr. Steve what the secret is of his gardening skills. Maybe he has a secret that he can share with you today. Talking of which, Steve will be here in a few moments, but first, this is an excerpt from one of my full English lessons, and this is one of the excerpts that many people ask. They ask to see it again. They also ask about it. You will see Mr. Lomax and myself sharing breakfast. Here it is. This is an excerpt from one of my full English lessons. Also, in this particular lesson, I will talk about outrage, being angry, losing your temper, being offended and outraged. Do you ever find yourself feeling outraged by something you have seen or heard? When this happens, a person might say that they feel outraged by it. The emotion they feel is outrage. The thing they feel outraged by is outrageous. These days, people seem to become outraged by many things. Trivial moments of time are blown out of proportion by generating outrage among people. Did you hear the outrageous comment that politician made yesterday? It's an outrage. Mr. Duncan is talking about outrage, which I think is outrageous. The word outrage refers to the feeling of anger caused by something that appears offensive, rude, unfair, or upsetting. You feel outraged.
Dear Mr. Duncan, was it really necessary for you to start your lesson off by shouting loudly? As it made me fall off the toilet and hit my head on the wash basin. Yes, that's right. I watch you whilst sitting on the toilet. I find it helps to move things along a bit. Please don't do it again. Yours, annoyed and slightly injured, Mr. Lomax.
We live in an age where trends and fashions come and go at a very fast pace. Today's new fad very quickly ends up being yesterday's done thing. Something new soon becomes old hat and stale. This seems to happen more and more these days, whether it's music trends or fashion ideas or the latest piece of high tech, such as an updated mobile phone or computer console. Like the tide, the trends come in and go out. A short-lived fashion can be described as being a flash in the pan. This expression clearly shows the existence of something that became immensely popular, albeit for a short time. It was just a flash in the pan. It was short-lived. In a figurative sense, it is here today and gone tomorrow. Breakfast time, my favourite time of the day.
Here we go again. Another breakfast with Mr. Slurpee. I really want to tell him how annoying his noisy eating is. And look at that porridge. That's not how you make porridge. What on earth is he wearing there? A Wolverine t-shirt, for goodness sake. Grow up, man. You are 50 years old. I really want to tell him how annoying he is. But it will only hurt his feelings. Look at him, filling his smug face with milky porridge. And he never stops going on about English.
Is there a problem?
Mr. Duncan, for crying out loud, do you have to eat your porridge like that? It's so annoying. And that's not even how you make porridge. It's too weak. You always add too much milk. And what's with the t-shirt? It's a comic book character. You are not a child anymore. For goodness sake, grow up. You are 50 years old. Start acting like an adult. You are so immature and childish. It's not just one thing. It's everything about you. And another thing, you never stop talking about English. All day you go on and on about English this and English that. I really can't take it anymore.
You want to hurt me? Go right ahead if it makes you feel any better. I'm an easy target. Yeah, you're right. I talk too much. I also listen too much. I could be a cold-hearted cynic like you, but I don't like to hurt people's feelings. Well, you think what you like about me. I'm not changing. I like me. My viewers like me. My students like me. Because I'm the real article. What you see is what you get. Acting. And there it was, one of my many full English lessons. You can find them all on my YouTube channel. I'm being distracted here by Mr. Steve because he's crunching. That is very annoying, by the way.
Oh, hello.
Good.
Hello. I've just managed to crush my mint. I thought I had more time, Mr. Duncan.
No.
I thought because, I don't want you to complain about my bad breath.
No.
So I thought that I would suck a mint.
Okay.
But I ran out of time. Hello. Hello, everyone. And hello, Mr. Duncan.
It is Mr. Steve. He's back. And one of the things I love about doing this with Mr. Steve is I have years and years of experience of doing this, but it always seems as if Steve has literally just walked in off the street without any experience whatsoever. I sometimes think he does it on purpose to annoy me. I'm not sure. I don't know if he does, but I sometimes think that Steve might do that to annoy me.
No, I didn't, Mr. Duncan. I had a mint and I thought, we're going live in 30 seconds.
Yes.
I better get rid of this mint. And the
Yes.
quickest way was to crush it. But I didn't realise
Yeah.
the sound would be heard.
My mother used to always criticise me when I crunched my sweets. She said, no, you should suck them. Suck. Don't crunch.
I could have kept it in the corner of my, in my cheek. Could have kept it in the side of my mouth.
Oh, I see.
But it would have been uncomfortable. It would have rattled around.
I wondered what you were going to say then when you said cheek. I thought, that's a strange place to stick it.
Yes, on the inside of your cheek. That's what you used to do at school.
Did
If
you?
you were hiding chewing gum or sweets, if you weren't supposed to do that in class, you would hide it. In your everything all right. Oh, hello, teacher. So I thought that I would try that, but it didn't work. So I crushed it, and it annoyed. Anyway, enough of that.
Yes, and please, I was about to say the same thing. Please, Steve, enough of that. If it is your first time here, you will already know that that you will notice already that this is what it's like.
Well, I think we have got somebody who hasn't been on before.
I hope so.
Fika, I think I pronounced that correctly, is from Brazil.
Oh,
And wants to come here to learn English.
yes. What to my channel?
Yes.
Oh,
Or wants to learn English anyway.
yes, good.
So welcome if you are new.
Yes.
And I probably pronounced your name incorrectly.
Yes.
I noticed, by the way, that Tomek was first on today.
Yes, and Tomek, congratulations. You were first on today's live chat. I'll give you a round of applause because I didn't mention it.
Making up for not being here last week.
Yes.
So well done.
So Tomek. Is it that funny?
Well,
Tomek, congratulations. You were first on today's live chat.
I assumed you already would have congratulated.
No. Well,
Tomek
today
for
was
doing
chaos.
Chaos.
Because my stupid light bulb, this bulb, didn't just blow, it made a huge explosive sound as well, which scared the poop out of me, to be honest. So I don't like it when these big bulbs blow, because they make a horrible loud bang at the same time.
They're like car light bulbs.
Yes,
Halogen bulbs.
this is 650 watts. This light bulb.
That's a big light.
This is the same. You know, TV studios and film studios. These are actually the same lights, the same bulbs that they use when they're shooting Hollywood movies. You might not believe that, but yes, these bulbs are not only expensive, but when they go bang, they really do go bang.
Is anyone else new on today that we haven't mentioned? Anyone that hasn't been on Mr. Duncan's English teaching channel?
Well, Alex
that hasn't been here ever before.
Yeah, Alex Wilson. Hello, Alex. I don't
Right.
recognise your name. Are you new here? If it is your first time, please let me know.
Maybe, yes, Alex from India.
Oh.
Alex says that he's or she is from India. And we also have MD from Bangladesh. Are you new as well? We want to know. We want to know if you are. Welcome to the chaos and mayhem, which is live English with Mr. Duncan
That's
on
it.
a Sunday.
It's English Addict.
English Addict. That's that's the name of your English Addict. English Addict. English Addict.
Okay, good. Are you okay?
Repetition is good for the memory.
Yes. Apparently. Adele says, I feel a little bit free because of... Oh, I had the second dose of my vaccine yesterday, says Adele, and I'm feeling a little bit more free. Well, if there was ever a controversial subject that is making lots of people get very angry. Some people are protesting in the streets, including here in England. Yesterday, big protests taking place. Lots of people who don't like lockdown. I don't know why they're still complaining, because lockdown has almost ended here, but they're still complaining. But now they're complaining about something else. It would appear that some people just enjoy complaining.
Yes, I was going to say, where are we? Somebody said that they think that they were first on the live chat.
No, it was definitely Tomek.
According to our live chat, it was Tomek.
Yes.
But it was close.
It was Tomek.
It was close.
It was Tomek first on the live chat.
But exactly at the same time,
Yes.
at 12 minutes past 2,
Yes.
Mariutz, Vitas,
Yes.
Richard, Beatrice, Vittoria,
Yeah.
and Sharin, and William, and Beatrice, and Vitas.
Yes. Well, that might be because a lot of people will also send messages just as I'm going live. So they might appear. I can't go into the technical side of this, Steve,
Anyway.
because it will take me an hour to...
Welcome.
It's all to do with latency. It's all to do with YouTube connecting to the live stream. It is all also because the live chat and the stream that you see are two separate things. So
whether you were first or not first, it's still lovely for you to be here.
you know what?
At all.
I'm starting to regret congratulating the first person on the live chat. I might not do it again. But yes, it's all technology. It's the way it works. So maybe you appear to be first, but maybe you weren't. I can't believe I'm talking about this.
Sebastian's asked us an interesting question.
Oh, okay.
What's the difference between, and I think we can answer this, withdrew, retire, and retreat? Well, they're all different words, aren't they?
Yes, although they can be used in a similar way as well.
Yes.
So withdraw and also retire and retreat can actually be used as synonyms. So in a battle, if two groups are fighting each other, one group can withdraw, they can retreat, or they can, I suppose retire is probably not one you would use, but quite often if you give something up, if you stop, if you change your mind and decide to go back to where you came, you might retreat, retire, you go back to where you were. I suppose a good example of that is Andy Murray has just pulled out, as it were. What has he pulled out of, I hear you ask? He's pulled out of the Olympics. So he was supposed to be playing tennis today, but he's not now because he's hurt his leg.
Yes, if you retire from something, it's like retiring from work. You stop doing something,
Yes.
which is slightly different from withdrawing or retreating. Is you're temporarily stopping doing something, for example, fighting on a battlefield. You might retreat, but the implication is that you might go back into battle again, whereas when you retire, you stopped altogether. I've retired from my job, I'm not doing it anymore.
Yes. So retire might be more permanent, might appear more permanent, where withdraw, well, I suppose you can withdraw, but you could go back as well afterwards. You withdraw or you go back. So a good example, Andy Murray has withdrawn from the Olympic Games.
Or pulled out, as you say.
Yes, pulled out. You pull out.
Stop doing something.
It's also a very good means of contraception.
Or move out. The troops moved out.
Yes.
They're going back home or something like that. I hope we've explained that.
Well, move out, unfortunately, move out can be both ways. You can move out to go forward. You can also move out to go back.
True.
So that can be either way.
Thank you, Sebastian, for that question. Yes, right, okay. Please don't retire, Mr. Duncan and Mr. Steve. No, we might withdraw from time to time.
Yes, sometimes I do feel like withdrawing, or should I say going to bed, or going back to bed.
Yes.
And going back to sleep. Sometimes I do. We went to see my mum yesterday.
We did.
And we had a lovely time. Would you like to see a photograph of me and my mum yesterday? We were sitting together having a chat. Now, this is a personal photograph, so I hope you appreciate that this is actually a personal photograph. So don't worry, I am showing this, but it is a personal photograph. So I will show you now. So I'm chatting with my mum, and yesterday she was in quite a good mood.
She was.
And we were chatting away, and she recognised me, and I felt really happy afterwards. So here she is. Here's my mum. And there she is. My mum, she's having a little smile there as we're chatting to each other, and she was quite well yesterday. I was really surprised and delighted at the same time. So for those asking, you will notice that I was wearing gloves and an apron and also my mask, even though briefly I did pull my mask down. The only problem with wearing a mask, and if you are talking to someone with Alzheimer's, is they might not recognise your face because you're wearing a mask. So that's the reason why I pulled my mask down so my mum could see me. And yes, she did recognise me. So I felt rather pleased about that, to be honest.
Yeah, what a lovely picture.
We had a great day yesterday.
Victoria says your mum is really nice and sweet.
Thank you. She has her moments.
Don't all our mothers?
Yes.
Oh, by the way, when I mentioned Fika being from Brazil new, that's not a name.
Oh.
It was a statement meaning it gets cold there. Brazilian slang for relax or be calm.
Ah.
Okay, so not, yeah, fine.
It's a bit like us telling someone to chill.
Yes.
Hey, stop getting angry. Just chill. Chill. So calm down. Stop being so angry. Stop being so angry about all of those things that make you angry. Just chill. Chill, man. I can't wait for the 1960s to come back, when everyone's preaching peace and love. We seem to be living through a time where everything is the opposite to that. I think at the moment we are living through an age of anger, torment,
chaos,
arguments, people disagreeing over everything, every single thing. If you can name something that exists somewhere in the world, there are people fighting over it or disagreeing about it.
There's chaos and uncertainty everywhere you look around the world. I don't think there's ever been, I don't think there's ever been a time that I can remember where things have been so uncertain, where the future's uncertain, where we don't know what's going to happen next, what story's going to come up. It's just a very uncertain time. But anyway,
I feel as if we've lived through this time before, though. See, we grew up in the 1980s, and if you remember, Steve, there was a lot of uncertainty during that time, economically, but also there was a lot of tension between the East and the West as well. We had a lot of tension between the Western countries and what was the USSR. So at that time, there was a lot of tension, a lot of worry, a lot of fear that, well, the basic fear was we might decide to annihilate each other with nuclear weapons. It didn't happen. Spoiler alert. The 1980s did not result in annihilation, thank goodness.
A lot of people are saying you look like your mother, by the way.
A lot of people say that. I do look like my mum. I wish I had a photograph here of my mother with me many years ago. But yes, we do look very similar. There is no doubt that I am my mother's son.
Hello, Mary from Canada. I'm not going to talk about the Tilly hat today.
Okay, good.
Or the fact that my nephew lives in Canada, because I'm sure I've mentioned that before.
Yes, well, you don't need to mention it then.
But I just thought I would.
Even though you are technically mentioning it.
Yes.
So yes, I like this. Adele. Hello, Adele. Nice to see you here. I remember about peace and love. It is so different now. The people are more angry, always. Yes, it would appear that there is always something new for people to argue or complain or feel as if they are victimized. I think nowadays everyone tries at some point to be a victim of something.
I think one of the problems today is you can never be certain where you're getting accurate information from.
Yes, but also I think it comes from something much deeper than that. I think this need to be a victim is almost like your ego wanting attention. It's like a new way of getting attention is to actually play the part of a victim, because you get more attention. If you are just an average person walking down the road and no one is looking at you, then for that person, that individual might feel annoyed by that. So you need something that will get attention, something that will bring attention to you. So I do believe, and this is only my opinion, you don't have to agree, but I think that nowadays a lot of people like to be victims because you get attention. You will get more attention. There's nothing special about just walking down the road and being a normal person, an average person, just walking around. You have to have some sort of label or something you can say, the world is against me. Everyone, please feel sorry for me. Me. That's what I think anyway.
Well, Mr. Duncan, what is is there a theme for today's lesson?
There is. Well, we are talking about an interesting subject today, Steve. Normal. And I mentioned the word just when I was talking there. I was talking about a person who is average or normal. And that can be anyone, really, I suppose. But what is normal? What is it? What does it mean? When we say that something is normal, is it something that is being used in a positive way or a negative way? Or maybe sometimes it can be both. So we can use the word normal to show something belongs, or maybe we use the word normal to push something aside. It's very strange. So this is one of the reasons why this word always fascinates me, because it can mean different things to different people. It's all about a person's perspective of what they see as something that is normal. So I thought we would have a look at some words briefly, some things that might be used if we are talking about things that are normal.
I think you make a good point there, Mr. Duncan, is that what is normal to one person might not be normal to another. So it definitely does depend on your perspective.
Yes.
You might events or life.
That's it. You might say it's a subjective thing.
Yes.
Subjective. So a person's own personal view, as opposed to something that is objective, which is something that is stated as fact that you are referring to.
Yes.
So there is always a slight difference there, and a lot of people do make that mistake when they are talking about objectivity and subjectivity. So when we talk about subjectivity, we are talking about our own personal opinion, the way something goes into your eyes or into your ears.
Your life, your experience of life.
Yes, and then into your brain, and the way it is processed. So for me, the word normal is a word that can be used in many ways, and for each individual person, it has a different meaning.
Or group of people.
But when we talk about the definitions, which we are doing now, normal can mean common, something you see every day, something that might just be there. Sometimes normal things can be there and you might not even realise it. Normal things that are there, but not necessarily things that are noticeable, or things that you can see, or things that you might even take notice of. So common things we often see as normal. Usual as well. So something that you see every day. Maybe when you walk down the road, you might meet the same people every day, Steve.
Yes.
They are the usual people. So that respect, that situation can be described as normal. It is a normal situation. It is usual. It is something that happens often. Typical as well. A typical thing. A thing that you might find all over the place. Maybe if you go to a certain place, you might see things that are typical in that area, in that place. You were going to say, Steve?
No, I was just some of the comments that people are making,
Yeah.
which are very apt to what we're talking about. Abnormal.
Oh, well,
being
yes.
The opposite
Yes.
of normal.
Well, that is just as subjective as normal.
And normal nowadays is to wear a face mask and get vaccinated every year, says Sebastian. Yes, well, you often hear the phrase new normal.
Yes.
Spoken about.
Yes.
What we used to think of as normal, going to work, driving your car, just walking into shops, not really thinking about it, has all changed for a lot of people around the world. And the new normal now is to have to wear a mask, maybe, or cover your hands in what do you call it? Sterilise your hands when you go into a what do you call it? What's that stuff?
Antiviral.
Yes, it's sort of that alcohol wipe.
Antiviral. Well, it's antiviral lotion or antiviral.
Yeah, there's a name for it. I can't remember what it's called. So that's the new normal now. But that's somebody else made another point as well.
I've got my hand gel is another way you can describe it. There it is, some hand gel. And this hand gel smells like bubble gum. I like it.
Okay, Mr. Duncan.
Something typical, something that can be often found, is often described as normal. Here is where we get very Ooh, we are entering into strange territory here. This is where things become a little awkward. Normal is often seen as something that is natural. And I think this particular definition is the one that causes a lot of controversy and a lot of arguments. So what is normal? What is natural? When we talk about things that are natural, Steve, we are talking about things that happen or occur in nature. But again, I think this can also be subjective as well. What one person sees as natural might be unnatural to someone else. So again, it can be subjective.
This is what a lot of people are saying, that it depends on your point of view, your culture, the friends that you're with. It's very easy to become the sort of person that doesn't apply to anybody watching us, because everybody that watches you, Mr. Duncan, has a very open framework, a very open mind.
Yes.
Is able to see. You've got to be able to see other people's point of view. You know, other cultures, other religions, whatever you are. It's not the same everywhere around the world.
Yes. Well, just another person. When you meet another person randomly in the street, they are a different person. They are not the same as you. They are different. They might have different points of view, different ways of living, different beliefs. In fact, there might be many things that one person can have that is different from yourself.
And it's very easy to become judgmental.
Yes.
Of other people, other cultures, based on your own view of what you think the world is or should be. And quite often, sometimes, as people become older, their opinions and views, not always, but certainly in certain circumstances, will become fixed at some point.
Yes.
In their lives, and they're not either able or capable of thinking outside this way that they've always thought the world should be.
That's it. I think it's easier to change the mind of a young person than it is of someone who is much older. I think that would be fair to say, even though I'm sure there will be people who disagree, but I think it is easier to change your ways if you are younger than if you are older, much older.
But of course, Lewis is able to take in all sorts of points of views. Lewis is always making wonderful comments.
Yes,
and one of our sort of more senior people that watch us.
Yes.
And has a wonderful open outlook. And not just for his age, but for any age, because I've met young people who have got very closed minds.
Yeah. Well, I'm not generalising. I'm just saying that.
I'm just making a comment.
In that respect, there might be people who are older who are open-minded, but it is harder physically. I'm actually talking about the physical process in the brain. It's harder to break out of those habits, any habit. So a habit can be something that you do every day, but it can also be the way you think as well.
Of course, any change requires an effort. And Tom makes the point that normal is boring, but for the vast majority, it's safe.
Yes.
It feels safe, and therefore to do anything different to what you're used to makes you feel nervous, maybe anxious, and it's different. Oh, what's that? Oh, no, that's not the way the world should be. It's this way. And then you might retreat into your own world and just circulate with people who have their own views as you. And that's something that's highlighted a lot with what goes on the internet and people giving their opinions.
That we could have we could have a whole 3-hour lesson. We could talk about that for hours, couldn't we? Really.
Hand sanitizer.
You're right.
Alcohol gel. Yes, that's the phrase that I couldn't remember. Alcohol gel, hand sanitizer. Thank you.
Yes.
People who have helped me out there in my moment of blankness.
Okay. But people do get angry about everything, and it would appear that we really do want to just argue, bicker, and fall out over everything that happens and exists.
Well, it happened with Brexit, didn't it?
Oh yes, I don't want to get
talk about it, but
yes.
Suddenly there were 2 points of view, and that was it. There was nothing in between.
There always has
for
been,
it or not.
That's it. There always has been divisions, but more recently they've become very clear divisions, I think.
Yes.
Would you say?
Yes.
Literally,
polarizing thinking.
yeah. I think it's safe to say that Brexit, Donald Trump as well, and then we have coronavirus. There are people who believe certain things they've read on the internet, as Steve said. That is one of the big dividers of the human race, I think so, with the way we think, but also the way we perceive things. So it really does depend where your finger decides to click on the internet. I think so.
Yes, but that's the point I was going to make, that because of the way these algorithms work on the internet, if you search for something to get an idea about something, and you read and then you see somebody's video and they've given a point of view on that video, then what will come up as suggestions for you are just videos from other people who have the same opinion. That's what tends to happen. So you can get trapped in this world on the internet where you only end up watching things or seeing things that the internet thinks that you want to see.
Yes.
Because you've clicked on and watched a lot of different things, and that becomes then your normal world. And the internet doesn't tend to throw up videos of things that have the opposite view to what you're watching. No. It tends to just give you suggestions of things that are the same as you're already watching.
Yes.
So you never get a balanced view.
Well, it gives you what you want.
Yes.
So if you believe that whatever it is, I'm not going into specifics.
Yeah.
Because
I'll give you an example.
No, don't give me an example, because
why not?
We can't mention subjects directly because of YouTube.
It's all right. Well, I'm not going to mention anyone in particular. I'm doing a lot of reading at the moment.
We don't want to hear about that, Steve.
Oh, right. Thanks a lot.
Do we want to hear about Steve's finances?
No, not my finances. But what I've noticed is, for example, I'm reading about sort of things to do with financial aspects that are going on in the world.
Oh, okay.
What happens is that you put in one suggestion about something, and then it brings up a suggestion of a video to watch. So you watch that.
Yes.
And there's someone or a few people giving their point of view of what they think is going to happen in the next 2 or 3. But then down the left, right-hand side, you then get a load of other suggestions for you to watch. But they're all basically different people with the same view. You don't get something opposite.
That's the algorithm doing that.
I know, exactly. So that's the danger, I think.
But the same thing would happen if you were watching lessons or videos about horses. So it doesn't know. The algorithms don't think.
Yeah.
All they do is throw what you are watching already. They throw more of the same thing. So if you're watching videos about horse manure or pigs rolling around in their own mud, then you will get more videos suggested that have those same themes.
Yes.
So that's it.
The danger is if you're searching on controversial ideas or beliefs on the internet,
yes,
then all you will get back as suggestions are videos that reinforce that position. And it could be something, it's okay when it's to do with, say you're interested in cars and you or Ford Mustangs, and then you put something in about a Ford Mustang. Up comes a video of a Ford Mustang and you watch it, but then down the side come up 10 other Ford Mustang videos.
Yes.
That's fine, because I want to know about Ford Mustang.
That's it.
But if I was to put in a subject that was quite controversial, might be to do with race or racism. So I'm not. Don't worry, Mr. Duncan. I'm not going to.
But it is you.
Then it might bring up an opinion, and then you will get lots of other videos, and then you might think from that, that is the way I should probably think. So that's the point I'm making. The danger of the algorithms on the internet,
Yes.
it can polarize people's thinking,
Yes.
and they can think that that is normal because I've
Okay.
watched lots of other videos on that same thing.
That's it.
But that's all it's kicking up.
That's it. Yes. Yes.
That's just my point.
So-
Is it controversial?
Well, I don't think that's controversial. No, that's just the way it is. But the thing is nowadays, I think people also want to be seen as victims of some sort. I mean, we could easily become victims if we wanted to. You and I could easily say that we are victims, but we're not, because I don't want to appear like
The world
that-
is against me.
that sort of sad situation where your attention, the attention that other people are giving you, is just because you're going, poor me, poor me, poor me, everyone's picking on me, please give me attention. I can't do that.
I thought you did do that. With complaining about YouTube. Cheer up, Mr. Duncan.
Well, I wouldn't say, but
I'm joking. I'm
Huh?
just joking. We're just, a bit of light relief, a bit of comedy. Adi says, made a very personal comment here, said that I've had plenty of problems with not being normal because I'm non-binary. People around me used to tell me I should try and be normal. See, that's the thing. People are afraid with anything that's different
yes,
to what they see as the way the world should be. And if you do something different, suddenly, they will do everything to try and stop it because it's upsetting, it's stressful for them, because, oh no, the world can't be like, I've thought for 30 years the world's like this, and then suddenly,
okay,
we've both seen this in our families. Well,
yes.
not so much
I don't
you, but
I don't really want to get into those
Well, no.
personal things.
but somebody has mentioned that.
But yeah,
And I
yes.
think,
But the point I'm making is not necessarily what is right or wrong, or whether something is normal or not normal, but it's every individual who sees things in a certain way, and that used to be more flexible in the past.
Yes.
And this is the point I'm desperately trying my best to get to. In the past, normality was something that was often seen as flexible. You would actually change your mind because you would actually physically meet someone or come across something. But nowadays, most of our opinions become fixed because we never see anything or hear anything that tries to change that opinion. And that is what you just said on the internet. The internet is a great example of that because it feeds you the same stuff. It's like eating hamburgers every day, and that's all you ever eat because the person who gives you your food thinks you only want to eat hamburgers. That's all you want. But maybe you like Brussels sprouts as well. Maybe you like potatoes. Maybe you like fish. But all they are giving you is hamburgers. And that's what the internet is doing. So we call this an echo chamber. The echo chamber is where everyone in that group is saying exactly the same thing. They have exactly the same opinion, and they don't have anyone there amongst them who will say anything different. So that's it. So you end up stuck in the never-ending echo chamber of repeating and thinking and never changing. Whereas in the past, when we used to actually meet each other, when we used to actually socialise more and express our feelings and ourselves more openly, it was more flexible. So that's what I think anyway.
Yes, that's why it's so important to meet people. That's why it's good for young people to leave home, go and make new groups of friends, meet as many different people as they can, go to college, go to university, even if, just to get that experience of being in contact with different cultures and different people. Interesting, funny comment from, where are we? Forgotten. Sergio. Try to be normal, like me, says Sergio.
Yes, that's it. But I would love to be normal like you, but maybe to other people you are not normal.
I think that's what he means.
So yes, but that's the point. I'm just explaining that. I'm explaining that's the. It's almost like a paradox There is no normal. There is no average. There is no special. There is no boring. There is no weird, really. It is all just our own perception. It is what goes on inside this thing here, your brain, the way we perceive everything around us. But the problem is, if you lose that ability to be flexible and learn new things and change your ways, then everything becomes fixed.
That's often a criticism of religion, isn't it? Because I'm not going to mention any particular religions or any people. Don't worry, Mr. Duncan. Don't worry. Calm down. Calm down.
I'm all right.
But, religion is often seen as a means of control, and that controlling your opinions and telling you what is normal and what isn't. And I always remember, I'll mention this again, I'm sure I've mentioned it before.
Probably.
When I was 18, we had a speaker come to the school. He wasn't a teacher from the school. He was somebody from outside. And he came in to give us a talk about the future. And there's one, I can't remember anything he said apart from one thing, which was, you youngsters, he said, and this obviously going back a long time, I'm only 18 at the time, as you're going into the world, just be aware of one thing. You are going to see more change in your lifetimes than any other generation before you. And if you don't adapt to that, you will not survive. And he was absolutely right. And just reinforcing what you said, that if you can't adapt and change in this world, then you're just going to get left behind, and life is going to become a very frightening and confusing place. And you can't fall back. You can't ignore. You can't stop unless you go and live, in a community that is totally cuts themselves off from the real world. You can't escape it. It is frightening in a way, but you can't stop. Like technology, for example.
Well, yes.
You have to keep up. You might not want to do it, but if you don't keep up to date with it, suddenly you're behind everybody else. And, like Facebook, everyone's on Facebook. You're not on it, so therefore suddenly you're out. I mean, I'm not on Facebook.
No, you do realise Facebook is the lamest thing now you can actually say that you use.
Well, that shows you how far behind I am already.
So even you, all right, even you are sounding out of date just by saying Facebook. It's now the TikToks.
I didn't call it the Facebook.
It's the TikToks in the Instagrams. But even Instagram now is becoming a little lame and boring because people are finding something else to go to. But that's not really about being normal. That's just the means. That's the media. That's the medium that you use to express or show your opinions. So what I'm actually on about is the actual opinions themselves, and how the way we share our opinions or the way we form our opinions have changed over the years. So the information has to come from somewhere. And it used to be you would go out with friends, you would see people, you would meet strangers, you would go sit down somewhere and talk to someone you've never met before. But nowadays, if you go to a pub, Steve, or a club, if you go to a pub, the first thing you will see is people sitting around looking at their phones. But they're with other people, physically.
Yes.
They're with other people, but they're not talking to each other. They're on their mobile phones looking at the latest BuzzFeed article.
Reading opinions from people who think exactly the same as they do, and divorced from reality.
Yes.
See, my mother is of that generation that, if you go to a bus stop, if you go into a shop, you talk to people.
Well, yes.
You say, "Oh, hello, it's a nice day," blah, blah. But people don't do that anymore, and my mother finds that quite disconcerting.
But the problem is
people just don't talk anymore.
Your mother talks to everyone, even if they appear to be sort of completely insane, and they might.
There is. You have a point there.
Your mother does not have any social scoring with people when she meets them. Whoever it is, if a completely lunatic person goes up and says, "Hello, would you just like to see my axe?" Steve's mother will say, "Oh, hello, yes, what a lovely axe you have. Is that your axe? Where did you buy it from?" And that's Steve's mum.
We've started things off here, Lewis and people are having sort of conversations and debates and opinions.
Good.
Within the live chat. Vitas and Lewis are having a little debate about Europe and the USA and China.
Yes.
It's all very interesting. Yes.
But all of these things make up a person's perception of the world. I suppose one of the biggest culprits at the moment is television or television news. And this is something that's changed over the past 5 years with the clear division between what we call the right and the left, people who are liberal or people who appear to be libertarians, and those who have much stronger points of view. And that divide has only become wider and wider. And now it is stuck. It is stuck at that position. Nothing is changing because everyone is still sticking to their opinion. They're not changing. They're not listening to each other. So that divide will remain in place for as long as everyone stays fixed. And as long as they just read the same news stories or watch the same news channel, it will never change because everyone is being fed the same information again and again, when in fact the purpose of humanity is always to move forward, to investigate, to learn, to discover.
But at the same time, there are forces out there that want to control us all.
Yes, okay, Steve. No, that's not.
No, they do, you know.
Yeah, okay.
Governments want to control you, don't they? And
not really.
Religions do. I think they do, Mr. Duncan, because that's why we,
You start to sound like...
Well, no, they do. They do. They want to sort of, anything, depending on what newspaper you buy, that will
Yes.
control you. I mean, if you only ever buy a left-wing paper,
Yes.
like The Guardian in the UK, or if you ever have a right-wing paper or a conservative paper like The Telegraph or The Mail,
Okay.
that will give you one view. But if you only ever buy that paper or that paper, then you're never going to get a balanced point of view about what's going on. Sergio makes the point that the ultimate purpose of an organism is to adapt. Yeah, because that's what evolution's all about.
Yes.
Organisms adapting to their environment.
Yeah.
And the ones that don't adapt die out. I mean, that's over a long period of time, millions of years. But, in today's world, for us human beings, we have to adapt on a daily basis to what's happening.
Yes.
Because if you don't, then,
But that is our own creation.
history.
That is our own creation. That is the interesting thing. This is not natural. We're not necessarily talking about things that are happening as evolution. We're talking about our own evolution with creating and discovering and finding out about things. So that is really the driving force behind everything that's happened over the past 100 years. Nothing over the past 100 years has happened because one person disagreed with another person or hated them. It's all happened because people came together and shared and wanted to find out more. Science, looking into the heavens, looking into the deep realms of the universe. All of these things are incredible. That is the direction that we should be going in, not just arguing with each other or shouting at our own reflection in the mirror.
Are you doing that, Mr. Duncan?
That gets you nowhere.
Yes, we've really started debate on this one. If you haven't already, please, if there's anything that you've liked in today's lesson, in today's show, please press the like button because that really does help Mr. Duncan with his channel.
Yes.
So if there's anything you've liked,
Yes.
just like it.
Good.
Even if it's just Mr. Duncan's hat.
Yes.
Or when I just sort of wave like that and that's nice. Just put a like on,
Okay.
please.
What?
For
What?
Mr. Duncan.
I don't know. You could just say, please like this.
I know,
Please.
but you've got to, I'm just expanding on what I'm saying.
Why say one word when 1,000 will do?
It's Navy Day in Russia today, says Sergio. Navy Day.
Hello, Navy. I was looking at my navel this morning. I was picking some of the fluff out of...
Navy. You're being very disrespectful.
No,
Mr. Duncan.
actually, you're wrong. Naval can also...
No, I meant,
It's a generic term for anything to do with being on the sea.
is
or
it your
military.
Naval Day today, is it?
Yes.
No, I think you're being disrespectful to
I'm
the, to Russia's.
I'm not being disrespectful. It's just another use of the word.
What happens on Navy Day? I would like to know. I would like to know what happens on Navy Day.
I can guess. Can
I
I
mean-
make a guess? It's people on their ships and their boats and all the military will come together and they will display their military force. I think so. Am I right?
See, we couldn't have a Navy Day in the UK because we basically don't have a navy anymore.
Yes. By the way, if anyone is thinking of invading us,
Yes.
it's ever so easy. We don't really have any navy anymore. I think we have 3 ships, and 2 of them don't even have any planes.
Yes. We built a brand new aircraft carrier, but there aren't any aircraft on it.
It cost billions to build,
Yes.
and there aren't any aeroplanes to put on it.
I think they were going to put French aeroplanes on it, but I don't think that will happen anymore since Brexit. But then maybe I'm wrong. But
But we do have jet fighters. We have Typhoons, of course. Typhoon is a very powerful airplane, but these are of course used elsewhere.
yes, we do not have a Navy Day here. In fact, we don't have any kind of military day really.
No.
We used to have like a military. There was a program every year.
Program.
There used to be every year we had like a military program, and when they were doing sort of setting off cannons and what was it called? They sort of had military.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
When I grew up, sort of in the 70s,
Okay.
they used to have every year. I can't remember what it was called now, but they used to have sort of army exercises, and it was. I can't even explain what it was. But we don't have it anymore. We don't have any.
That's very clear.
Probably because it's not worth celebrating. I mean, in Russia they do celebrate their armed forces a lot.
Oh yes, I tell you something, Steve. You know what
With
always
military parades.
Sorry,
We don't have them here.
No, okay, Steve. I'm just trying to speak again. You know what I love? I love watching. This is something I'm going to confess to now. I might get into trouble, but I do quite liking those. I like watching those military parades in Russia and in China. I don't know why. I find them rather exciting to watch because of all of those weapons and those tanks and those missiles. There is something quite overwhelming by seeing that on display. And I know it's strange, but I always feel transfixed when I see it. All of those soldiers marching with their unique style.
Yes.
And have you noticed each country has its own type of marching? They all march in a slightly different way, but my favourite must be North Korea. North Korea has the most amazing march. Have you ever seen North Korean soldiers when they're marching? I don't know how they do it, but their legs seem to go up at the same time. It's almost as if they're hovering.
It's very energetic. I would imagine that they will have a lot of sort of hip problems when
Yeah.
they get older.
Yes,
That must be very wearing on leg joints.
I think so.
Maybe,
Fortunately, you're not doing it all the time.
But goodness, that is, that you'd be frightened of that army, wouldn't you, if you were in battle?
Yeah.
And of course, that's the whole point of military parades
Yeah.
is to frighten your enemies.
Well, it doesn't frighten me. I get a bit.
No, I'm not saying you're not frightened, but I'm just saying that's the point of a military parade.
Yes.
Is to instill fear
I think
in
everyone-
people who might be thinking of invading
Yes.
your country.
Well, I think everyone knows that.
Yeah, well,
But I'm talking about a different feeling. Mine is excitement. I don't know why. I just get a little tickling feeling in my stomach.
even though it's not your country.
Even though it's not my country, I just love watching all of those lovely shiny weapons.
I think there's nothing normal in that, Mr. Duncan.
What-
See how I got that in?
Yes. It doesn't have to be normal. You see? Normal
Well,
is what you make
You
it.
feel very proud if you see your country displaying its military
Okay.
might
Ooh.
to the rest of the world.
Fernando, Steve,
Yes?
can we just have a little pause there because I need to say something. Fernando, hello Fernando. Please can someone tell me the meaning of pop off? If you pop off, it means you leave. You leave, maybe suddenly, you go. Steve, I have to pop off.
It means that you're probably going to return shortly.
And now I'm back. I've returned. I just popped off. So to pop off is to leave. Leave. Maybe you leave suddenly, but you might return. You see, you might pop somewhere. You might pop off to the shops. That means you're going to the shops, but you will be back soon. You're not staying away permanently. Of course, pop off can also mean die as well.
That's true, yes.
If a person dies, we can say that they've popped off. He's popped his clogs.
Yes, that's a sort of a way of saying it without sounding too direct, isn't it? Without sounding too, he's popped off, as opposed to he's dead.
Well,
Sounds a bit more final. Yeah. Yes, there we go. Yes, Sergio says...
did I go to Much Wenlock last Monday? No, I did not in the end. I did not because the rules in many places were still being enforced. So many of the shops in Much Wenlock, we were there yesterday, we went into town yesterday, and it was so busy. It was full of people. It was full of people, but many of the people did wear masks. So many people are still wearing masks in the shops, even though now things have become a little bit more relaxed.
Yes, we can watch the Great Navy Parade on Russia Today, which I will do because I often watch that channel.
Yeah.
Because we don't just like to watch the BBC, we like to watch Russia Today, Al Jazeera, and and ITV and Sky. I like to watch all of them, although really BBC, Sky and ITV are pretty much going to give you the same content.
Yes, that's it.
So if you want something different, a different perspective on the world, you've got to watch RT or Al Jazeera.
Yeah. Of course, we have a new news channel
Yes.
here as well. We have a new news channel, which is supposed to be leaning more towards the right of politics and the right of opinion, called GB News, Great Britain News.
I do like Al Jazeera as one of my favourites
Yeah.
because they've got a lovely gentle signature tune.
Oh, okay.
Most of the other channels sort of bombard you with this over-the-top drum beat as their signature tune to the news channel, which immediately you're sort of on edge and sort of anxious about what the news is going to be. But Al Jazeera don't. They've just got this lovely, gentle music, and they just tell you the news in a very flat, unemotional way.
Yes.
And then when they show you documentaries, they don't overlay it with emotional music. It's all just done in a calm way, the way that actually we used to report news in this country.
Yes.
So,
I suppose the word we're looking for is dry.
and they've got spectacular sets. I love. You have a look at Al Jazeera and look at the spectacular desk that the presenters sit at. It's like a spaceship. but no, I do. But we like watching Russia Today as well. We watch all
Okay,
of them,
this
really.
is really straying so far away from what we're talking about.
Well, no, it's about
Steve
what people
likes
have.
Steve likes a news channel not because of the information, but because the music's quite nice.
Well, I don't like. See, I don't like
Yes.
watching the BBC anymore because that awful signature tune,
Yes.
thumping drum beats into your head.
Okay.
I just find it so stressful.
Yes.
I have to switch it off.
Steve.
I've had to do switch it off.
You are the only person that's interested in this topic.
I'm not sure that I am.
I think you'll find you are.
Well, it's in connection with what people have been saying about having a flexible approach and being able to adapt.
Is that a dog
to
barking?
things.
Is that a dog barking?
Yes, it is, and we know who that is.
Why do people buy dogs that are insane?
Uh,
It is a current trend at the moment here to buy a dog that is completely insane. Why? Why do people buy dogs that are completely mad? And then they get them home and then the dog starts acting in a mad way, like barking and tearing up their furniture. Just get a dog that isn't mad, okay? This is a bit of advice here from Uncle Duncan. If you're going to buy a dog, buy one that is not insane, that doesn't bark at everything.
Well,
And wait, well, I'm just making a point here.
oh no, I'm agreeing with you.
I'm helping.
agreeing with you.
I'm helping the general public here with this. It's a bit
I
like
didn't know that was our purpose.
it's a bit like. Well, okay.
I'm only joking. I'm joking.
Oh.
Joking.
Our remit.
Adapt.
Okay. Our remit is help, and this is part of it. You see. It's like going to an orphanage and saying, "Do you have a child who will try to murder me one day? Do you have any psychopath children?"
Are you
Yeah.
talking about rescue dogs, as
Well-
they're called here?
Well, that's what I meant. Yes, that's what I said.
Rescue. I didn't hear you.
Dogs that are
Say that
dogs
phrase.
that are completely mad and insane, and they're all in a place where they've been rescued.
Yes, just to explain.
Oh no, I don't.
To our
We don't.
viewers.
Well, rescued.
Yes.
that doesn't really.
If people buy a dog and then they don't want it anymore, they take it to somewhere,
Yes.
and then people can go and get them for free, and they're called rescue dogs.
Yes.
And the problem with a rescue dog is it's often, gone a bit cuckoo in the head. It's got issues,
Yes.
as our
wasn't-
new neighbour with their
Oh,
rescue.
Steve. No.
Again,
you see,
somebody that we know from a long way away
I
has
don't-
got a rescue dog.
You know what? You are going to be the death of my channel.
Don't be silly, Mr. Duncan.
You are going
I'm
to
not
be
mentioning any names.
for two reasons, Steve.
Our neighbours, let's call them Jack and
Steve,
Jill.
this is the internet. That over there is real life. That real life will come and knock on our door.
You mean from 10 miles away in that village where we know somebody?
Okay.
I'm just saying, if somebody has a rescue dog and then they say to you that their dog has issues,
Yes.
then,
But this wasn't what I was saying.
Anyway.
I wasn't even talking about that.
you're a bit touchy today.
I'm not-
It's a bit touchy,
but
isn't it,
I'm
don't
not-
you think?
I'm not. I'm trying to
Don't be
explain something
sensitive.
very simple, and the whole thing now is just destroyed.
Go on then.
But it's gone. It's gone. It's the moment has gone. Oh,
I'll keep my mouth shut, Mr. Duncan. I'll say nothing else for the next 10 seconds.
my advice is don't get a dog that will bark at everything, including its own shadow. Everything. So get a dog that won't do that. Get a dog that has decided that he's going to be lovely and fluffy and wag his tail and go at everything around it and not bark all the time, because that might be annoying for people who live nearby, especially if it happens all the time. And I never understand that, why people decide to go and get a dog that's completely insane, because it makes them look better. You see, you go, "Oh, would you like to see my new dog? It's a rescue dog.
That's what people say here.
Look at me. Look
In
how
England.
look how good I am. I've rescued a dog."
In reality, it's a free dog. Because it's a dog somebody else has rejected,
Yeah,
probably because it's a problem dog.
it's mad.
So they've got rid of it. You've rescued it. But you haven't had to pay £1,000 for the dog, because
No.
dogs in this country now are very, very expensive.
Well, you wouldn't pay £1,000 for an insane dog.
Well,
would
that's
you?
it. That's what I'm talking about.
You have to give it away.
If you want a sort of a pedigree dog now in this country, most people spend between £500 and £1,000 on a
Yes.
dog.
Again, we're drifting away from what I'm trying to say.
Well, you started the subject.
I know. I just-
Adie's from Aberdeen in Scotland.
Okay, that's
Chinchillas.
hello, Aberdeen, Scotland.
I didn't know. Is it Adie or Addie? It must be. Am I pronouncing your name
No,
correctly?
that's just
Here we
you.
go. Every week there's a pronunciation issue going on here, and I've probably offended that person. But from Aberdeen
Okay,
in Scotland.
don't do accents.
Why
you
not?
can't. You
I
can't
can do an accent.
That is
It's
the
all right.
worst. That was Welsh. You just did the Welsh accent.
Aberdeen.
No, that does not sound. That sounds Indian.
I don't think so.
Stop it. Just stop trying to do accents.
I'm just trying to lighten the mood, Mr. Duncan.
You are not. You are not lightening the mood. So when we talk about things that are normal, quite often it is from a certain point of view. However, if you do decide to buy a dog, please make sure that it is not one that is completely crazy, because you will make all of your neighbours go crazy over time as well. It's like, as I said, going to the orphanage. Can I have the most disturbed young orphan
But
that you can find that will literally, when it's about 10 or 11, will try to stab me in my sleep? Can you please do that for me? You might disagree. You don't have to agree. You might disagree, but it's just a thought that popped into my brain. Do you ever see things by the road? Now, quite often as you're driving around, Steve...
dead dogs.
Sorry?
We saw a dead dog yesterday by the side of the road.
We didn't?
I thought
I
we
d-
did.
I didn't see any... I didn't see any dead dogs. I saw a dead rabbit.
Actually, it was a rabbit, was it? Right. I was driving. You see,
Yes.
you have if you knock a dog down in this country in your car and kill it, you have to report it, but not if it's a cat.
Yes. Okay.
I could knock down as many cats as I want, and I don't have to report it. If I knock down and kill a dog, I have to report it to the police.
Well,
That is the law.
Well, it's the size, isn't it?
Well, what? Yeah, but it might be a little dog.
Yes, but
But if it's even if it's a little dog, I still have to report it.
but the law doesn't work like that. The law doesn't say if the dog is less than...
That's what I'm saying. I said that at the beginning. If you hit a dog and knock it down, whatever its size, you have to report it.
Yes.
That's the law.
No, I'm trying... Oh, my goodness. What I'm saying is the law just covers generally the species. It doesn't care if the dog is 8 inches long or 15 inches long, or if it's the size of a house. It's a dog. So the law is just covering that particular type of animal. So you can't have the law split up into various types of dog, because then that would be crazy. Because if you knock a dog over or kill a dog on the road, you're not going to get out the car and have a look and see which type of dog it was. Was it a small dog or a large one?
I didn't say that, Mr. Duncan.
No, I didn't say that either. But you said that cats are smaller, but the size is not relative.
I know,
It's-
but I'm just saying, you said it's to do with the size. That's why I made the comment.
No,
You-
I said it's not.
Anyway.
I said it's not to do with the size. It's to do with the breed,
Yeah, but-
the type of species, the animal.
I think you did. We'll watch this back later, and I think I'll be vindicated.
I don't think I'll be...
Vindicated. If I'm vindicated, it means I'm right. Valentin's off to play tennis.
Is anyone still watching this?
Yes, we've got a lot of people still watching.
Actually,
Valentin is off to play tennis.
to watch tennis or play
To
tennis.
play. Lots of thanks. Hope to see you all soon. Bye bye.
Okay,
Anyone for tennis?
good. Steve, I wish you would let me get to my point.
Go on then.
I spend 2 hours preparing this live stream, and Steve just does this all the way through it, and all of the stuff that I've been working on is just wasted.
Vodka.
Yeah, okay, Steve. Just please, just listen to Mr. Duncan. Please just relax slightly, because this is why we don't actually have people watching anymore. When you're driving along the road, do you ever see one of these?
I'm not saying anything, Mr. Duncan. You told me that I'm saying too much, so I'm not saying anything.
Do you ever see what is this, Steve?
Don't know.
This is actually something you see quite often along the sides of the road, and I'm always fascinated by these things. It is a type of memorial, and quite often when there's been an accident. Now, we're not talking about a cat or a dog. We're talking about people, actual people being injured or killed on the roads. Maybe a pedestrian, or maybe there's been a car crash. And quite often you will see memorials by the road. And I'm interested to find out if you do this where you are. So if there is an accident, a car crash, or a person is killed on a certain area of the road, do you ever see flowers or small tributes made to the person who lost their life? I think there will be an accident here in a moment in the studio. Someone is going to get pushed out of the window. So yes, quite often. Let's have another look. So here it is. So as you're driving along, you will often see flowers or a photograph or something that says, oh, this person or this individual or these people were injured or quite often killed in that particular space. And it is interesting, there are always roads, Steve, where you see them. That's the point I'm making.
You mean where there are lots of accidents?
Yes, there are always roads where you always see fresh flowers being laid down or tied to a street light. And there are certain roads, and there is a phrase that we can use. We can describe this as a black spot. Black spot. So a black spot is a place where bad things tend to occur on certain roads. And I'm sure you could name some roads around here, Steve, that are black spots.
Oh yes, known accident spots where people have accidents because it might be a junction where you can't see or where people are driving fast. And yes, so what people tend to criticise sometimes in this country... You're letting me speak now, are you?
Oh, yes.
Oh, good. Just clarifying that situation.
So far, it's going well.
That often nothing will be done. They won't put any traffic calming methods or a warning sign in place until somebody has died. So even if there are accidents that quite often happen in the same place, they won't actually do anything about it until somebody actually dies. And then someone will say in the council or so we better do something about that because somebody's died. It's well known that nothing is done about an accident black spot until somebody dies.
Yes. So there you can see it now on the screen in between Mr. Steve and myself. So that's the sort of thing. Normally some sort of tribute or something by the road. And
talking about pronunciations,
Inaki says, I saw them for the first time when I went to Edinburgh a couple of years ago. So I don't think everywhere does this. I think this might be unique to certain countries where if there's an accident, someone is injured or killed, and then later maybe friends or relations or people will come and they will put little tributes or maybe some flowers in that area. But I also think that this is quite clever as well, because I think this also works as a deterrent as well. So besides being something lovely as a tribute, I think this also works as a warning sign to those who might be driving too quickly. So as you're driving along, you might be going too fast, and then suddenly you see one of those tributes or memorials by the road, and you might go, oh, okay, I'm going to slow down. So it might actually have another effect as well. It might actually help in some ways to make the road safer.
It might do, but it looks a bit sad, I think, that, after a few weeks, those flowers and tributes all become very faded and wet, and they look a bit sad after a while. ADDY is giving me one last chance to get their name pronounced correctly.
Okay.
AD. Is that correct? AD. AD is how I think it should be pronounced according to what you suggested to me. Please tell me if I'm right. If not, then I will leave this channel and never come back again.
Gosh. That is one heck of a promise. That is a very big promise, Steve.
Yes.
You should not make promises like that.
So in Brazil, they put a cross. It does seem that in lots of parts of the country, a similar thing happens.
Have you still got the mint in your mouth?
What mint?
Is there a mint in your mouth now?
What? When you say mint, what do you mean?
Well, a mint. Is there a peppermint in your mouth now?
You mean
yes,
that?
Yes, get rid of it, because it's making you sound like it's making you sound like you've been hit on the head or something.
I thought that, you're banning me from speaking, so I might as well just have a mint.
This is what you sound like. Yes.
Yeah, but if you're learning to speak English, you've got to get used to people pronouncing words with sweets and mints in their mouth. So I think this is actually, I'm helping people here. If people can understand me with a mint in my mouth, where the pronunciations are slightly changed, then, it's education. I think it's helping. I'll get some chewing gum next week. And,
There's nothing says I don't care or I can't be bothered than a person that is chewing gum. If you go to a job interview and the person who is giving the interview sees you with gum in your mouth, nothing says I'm not going to give you that job more than having chewing gum in your mouth.
Oh, I got it right.
Don't do it.
AD, I got it right. I says AD, which is a Scottish expression. Good, right.
Hello to Sarah Pelletier, who says, this video is really good and great. Thank you very much. That's very kind of you to say so.
Can I ask a question?
A question? You want to ask me a question?
I've just noticed the time.
Yes.
Are we going to do the sentence game?
We are, because I was 10 minutes late.
Ah,
you see. So don't worry. It's all it's all under control. So yes, apparently people do put tributes or memorials by the side of the road as well if there has been a fatal accident nearby. So yes, we are going now to... Oh, my camera's stopped working. Right there. Let me just see if I can get my camera to work. Oh, okay, that's weird. Something very strange is happening to my equipment. I don't like it.
Can you still see us?
No, we're still on.
Oh.
But one of my other cameras has decided to stop working for some reason. I don't know why. I have no idea. I don't know why. Why? I don't know. I don't know everything.
Thank you, AD. The camera is working.
Yes, this camera is working, but there is another one that now isn't for some reason.
Let's not use it then.
Another technical problem. So let's have the sentence game. The sentence game is coming up, everyone. Are you excited? I hope so.
Well, we haven't heard from Tomek since the...
Right there. Wait, Steve. Pressed the wrong button. Oh. Well, Steve, it's been nice having you on today. I hope you've enjoyed your time here on my YouTube channel. No, not really.
Interestingly enough, Tomek was first on today on the live chat.
Yes.
But we haven't seen or heard from him since the beginning. 2 hours ago, is he still here?
Okay.
For the sentence game is what we all want to know.
Yes, we have the sentence game for those wondering what the sentence game is, and I have a feeling you are. It is the sentence game, which is a nice game we can play together. I will show you some sentences. You have to guess what the missing words are in those sentences. Today we are looking at normality. So we have been discussing normal. What is normal? And today we are going to look at some words that are connected to normality. So here is today's first sentence game, Mr. Steve.
Tomek says he's not here, by the way.
Tomek is not here.
So we can talk about him now.
Okay.
Because he's not here.
Right.
So he says. Right. 4 words. A nice easy one to start off with, Mr. Duncan.
Did you just count then like that? You went...
I do everything in a visual way, Mr. Duncan.
You certainly do. And sometimes an audio way.
So it is words connected with normality.
Beatrice has already got some of the sentence game correct. Oh, very good.
Quick is that?
Yes. Yes.
Well done.
Yes. So we are describing a certain type of something that might not be seen as normal. So in this particular sentence, we are talking about something that might not be normal or might be seen as something different from the usual. Ooh.
We've got a lot of suggestions coming up now. Might be a little. Haven't quite. I don't think we've got quite. We've got.
We haven't got all of it.
2.
We've got the first part, but not the last part. So the last part of this sentence describes something that is not seen as normal or usual.
AD. AD, I think, has got it.
Oh. AD. Hello, AD.
You sure you got that pronunciation right, Mr. Duncan?
Hello, AD. My something of something can sometimes be a little something the something. Yes. Very good.
Yes.
We have some nice answers coming through. Victoria, you are very close, very near. Vinraj also has a guess as well. Yes, you are very close as well. Now you might notice that sometimes we have maybe the number of words or number of letters, should I say, that are in each missing word. They might also be used with other words as well. So this does happen sometimes. So it can happen. Here we go then, Steve. Let's have the answer to our first sentence game. Very nice. Here is the answer. I want to get through these very quickly if I can. Bing! Oh, you see? My sense of humour can sometimes be a little off the wall. Something that is off the wall is something that's unusual, strange, weird maybe. Something unusual, something strange, something that is off the wall is something that might not be seen as normal or average, a little off the wall. Very nice.
Yes, if you've got a a strange sense of humour, or you maybe find humour in or comedy in things that other people don't, and you point these things out. Off the wall, comedians often dress, in a way that would suggest that they are not conforming to what society says is normal. So they wouldn't be wearing a suit and a tie or a smart, maybe.
So a certain type of behaviour might be seen as off the wall, something that is unusual, something that might even be described as odd, can be described as off the wall. Here's another one, Steve.
Right.
Moving on. Our second sentence game as we approach 4 o'clock. We have another 10 minutes because I was 10 minutes late today.
Naughty boy.
For which I apologise. His something makes him seem like an something. So we are talking about a person who might stand out in a certain way. Something that you do, or maybe something that you wear. So your behaviour can also be singled out as being unusual, but also maybe your appearance as well. A person who appears different, maybe from their clothing or even their physical appearance. Maybe a person who has some sort of deformity. Maybe they have no ears, or maybe their nose is very large, or maybe they have only one eye, or maybe there is a limb that is missing. So yes, something that is unusual. So not necessarily normal. I'm not saying that those things are normal or not normal. I'm saying from a perception point of view. His something makes him seem like an what?
Nisar's given us but Vindraj, if I've pronounced that correctly.
Yes, Vinraj. Yes, I think you've got the first two words correct.
But Nisar's also given us a suggestion which certainly could fit in with that sentence.
Ah, Macpac. Hello, Mapak. Mapak Monop is... Oh, yes, very good. Mapak Monop.
Well, that's strange. It hasn't come up on mine.
Oh.
Look. My live chat has frozen. How strange is that?
Maybe.
Look, it's going...
Maybe something has gone wrong.
Twizzling round and round. I've got that symbol going round and round.
Here we go. There we go.
Oh, lovely. Oh.
I'm just correcting Mr. Steve's live chat. Can you see it now?
I can. Thank you very much.
Very good. Mapak Monop has got it right. Yes, a very unusual word that describes a person who might seem odd or weird. And you might hear this used quite often in American English, but you can use it also in British English as well. You can use it. Beatrice says, yes, that is a new word for me. So let's have a look at the answer, shall we? The answer to the second sentence game is... Bing!
Yes.
Yes. His eccentric behaviour makes him seem like an oddball. Oddball. So if a person is described as an oddball, it means they are slightly unusual, quirky, eccentric, odd. So an oddball is a person who might be a little...
different to other people.
Different.
Different to what may be regarded as the norm.
Yes. So something normal is acceptable.
Yes.
And something that is odd might not be acceptable.
For example, shall I give an example of you when you were a child? Going to school.
I was an odd child.
You were you would freely admit you were a bit of an oddball.
I used to think, actually, looking back, Steve, I think I might be slightly autistic. And I'm not saying that flippantly. I'm not making a joke there.
Oh.
I actually think, I actually think, certainly as a child, if I was a child now, I think they might actually diagnose me with autism of a certain spectrum. Because I used to do some odd things. For example,
You used to go to school and you would have a bag of batteries, and on your desk, this is what you've told me, of course, we didn't go to school together, you would line up the batteries, the used batteries, on your desk in front of you. Now, nobody else would do that,
ever.
so that could be seen as oddball behaviour.
So that's one of the things I used to do. I was very strange at school. Even the teachers used to wonder about me, and I was always moved from different classes, because one class I would not fit in, and then another one I would be okay, but then I would not fit in. And so it's interesting looking back. I'm not sure. I've never been diagnosed, by the way. No one's ever diagnosed me, and maybe I'm not. But I was very strange as a child. I was quite an oddball. And one of my habits was bringing a bag of batteries to school, and I would put them on the desk and line them up.
I just said that. Nisa, yes, you could actually put the word, instead of eccentric, which we haven't explained the meaning of the word eccentric really, that's somebody who behaves in a way that other people don't.
Yes, or maybe they are extreme.
Maybe they dress in strange clothes.
Yes.
Or different clothes to other people.
Yes.
Maybe they drive an old car, a three-wheeler car, instead of one with four wheels. Things like that marks them out. Or maybe they wear a facial hair when it's not fashionable, or they grow their hair long when everyone else is growing it short. Just something that's very different. But you could replace eccentric, as Nisa, with energetic. You could do, because if somebody's is very energetic and runs around all over the place, it fits. It's got the right number of words. I think we should accept that.
Yes, I think energetic normally means a person with a lot of energy, or they're very lively. Yes, it could be interpreted as strange behaviour, especially if it's in a situation where you're not supposed to behave like that.
Like perhaps in an old people's home.
Or a funeral. Maybe you're attending a funeral, but you are at the back going, "Isn't it a lovely day today? What a lovely day it is!" And everyone else is crying because they are at a funeral.
Well, Saturino, there we go. Saturino has explained what oddball means, not a perfectly round ball.
Yes.
Well, that's it. So if everybody else is perfectly round, but you've got a few dents, then that means it's an odd ball.
Yes.
So it's different to the others.
Here's another one, Steve.
way.
Another one. I suppose eccentric, when you think of Doc Brown from Back to the Future.
Yes.
I think that is a perfect example of an eccentric person.
A mad scientist.
He's not necessarily insane, but his behaviour is exaggerated.
Quite often people, very intelligent people, will behave in eccentric ways. We have politicians that are, renowned for being sort of eccentric. If you do something that's, for example, if you were to wear a bowler hat and go out wearing a bowler hat in society now, you would be seen as eccentric.
A bowler hat.
Well, if you dress, say you dress in a very old-fashioned way.
Maybe if you wore a sombrero.
Yes.
I'm not sure about a bowler hat.
Well, there's a certain politician, isn't there, that dresses in a way that we think
But he wears a fedora.
pertains to maybe the last century,
Yeah.
or the century before that.
See, a fedora is a very eccentric hat to wear.
I was thinking of somebody else when
Oh, who else wears a hat then?
well, I'm not just thinking of hats, I'm just thinking of general ways that people behave.
Yes.
Different to what society now thinks as normal.
Okay. But yes, maybe you walk around the town in a sombrero. Not that there's anything wrong with a sombrero, because they can be very useful for keeping the sun off you.
I'd wear one.
But maybe if you're walking around in the winter.
Lady Gaga. There we go.
Yes.
Anaki, Lady Gaga is eccentric.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah. And not afraid to show their eccentricities.
See, I always think that Lady Gaga is what I call fake eccentric. So I think there is a difference. And I know this is people are going to disagree. They're going to say, oh no, Lady Gaga, she's eccentric. But I think part of her eccentricity is actually part of the theatrics. So I don't think she's really an oddball. You know when you meet an oddball. We all know when we meet someone who is really an oddball.
Nitram. Must watch a program that we used to like very much, Big Bang, The Big Bang.
The Big Bang?
Not The Big Bang, Big Bang Theory.
Oh, okay.
I'm not, because there's a quote here.
The reason is because Big Bang is also a K-pop group.
Big Bang Theory, that comedy series, where who's the main character, the tall, eccentric scientist? What's his name in the show? Do you remember, Mr. Duncan?
What, you mean Sheldon?
Sheldon. Somebody says you're crazy to him, and he says, I'm not crazy. My mother had me tested.
Yes.
And so we know Nitram.
But we never
show.
find out what the result was.
No, but obviously the implication is his mother must have thought there was something wrong with him to have him tested in the first place.
Yes.
That's the joke.
Yes. Okay.
Yes.
Is that it? Here's another one, Steve. Let's have another one. I think we've got time for one more. We will squeeze another one in, as the bishop said to the actress.
Marcy's going. Bye-bye. That something coat he wears suits his something something.
Yes. Again, we are talking about something maybe that might mean that a person is different from everyone else around. You see, that something coat he wears suits his something something. So think of something that you might wear that might also appear unusual or odd. I always remember when I was in China, there was a young lad who used to walk around and he used to wear these bright trousers. They were bright orange, and these huge boots. And everyone used to sort of think he was the local crazy person, but in fact he was pretty normal. It's just that everyone else thought that was against the social norms.
Convention.
The convention, that's a good word. Convention.
Yes.
The way things are normally done.
We have Zershid has made a suggestion for the first
That is actually
word.
a very good suggestion. Very good, yes.
Yes, that.
Yes, but what about the final two words? 13 letters.
Even I'm struggling with that.
Wow. So a person who goes along with everything, and a person who goes against what is seen as normal or acceptable. This is interesting.
13 letters, oh my God, says Inaki.
Yes. So we might be learning a new word today.
So shall we give the clue that, in fact, Zershid has got the first word correct?
Yes, the first word is correct. Zershid.
Something's biting me.
Is it?
Something's.
It's not me.
No comment.
It's definitely not me, Steve. I am not nibbling you.
Yes, so let's assume the first word is, in fact,
Bizarre.
bizarre. Not that the first word is a bizarre word, that the first suggestion there, the first actual word on that particular sentence game is bizarre. The word bizarre. Not a bizarre word. The word is bizarre.
Well, the word bizarre might actually appear to be a bizarre word.
Yeah.
Ah, you see it? So bizarre, yes, the first missing word is bizarre, which means odd, unusual, strange. Maybe something that is, it doesn't seem quite right. Something very different. Not the usual thing. Suits his what? I like 13 letters in a word. I love long words.
Well, I've got a feeling that AD has got it.
Oh, okay.
Maybe.
Does it have 13 letters? I love it when Steve counts.
It has got 13 letters.
Steve can never count silently. He always has to make some sort of sound.
Oh, I think Mapak Monop has maybe got the whole sentence.
Ah, yes, it looks as if... Oh, yes. Mapak is very good, by the way. I wonder who that is.
Mind you, Maura, hello Maura, didn't know you were here, which is great. I think also has got it as well. So yes, again a team effort.
Yes.
A team effort. So I think we've got the answer.
That's it. It's almost time to go. So here is the answer to today's final sentence game.
These lessons are so C2. What does that mean?
These lessons are so C2. I don't know.
We don't know what that means.
I
if
don't,
it's rude, don't tell us.
Yes, I don't think I want to know actually.
Right, okay. I don't think so. Bye-bye, Tomek.
Tomek is going. He doesn't want the answer. Don't you want the answer, Tomek? Here it is then. Here's the answer for everyone. Bing.
Oh, look at that.
Look at that for a word. That is a great word. That bizarre coat he wears suits his nonconformist attitude. Nonconformist. Isn't that just that is a juicy word. Imagine a piece of fresh fruit that is full of juice and flavour. The word nonconformist is like that. You just want to put it into your mouth and enjoy the sound. Savour the feeling of saying it. Nonconformist.
Somebody who doesn't conform. Somebody who doesn't do what society suggests or doesn't behave in a way that society suggests that they should do. So, maybe that when you go to church, you don't dress in a way that everybody else is doing.
Yes.
Maybe when you go to work, you don't wear a shirt and a tie and everybody else is. Things like that. Any other suggestions, Mr. Duncan?
Well, or just going outside on a day that is very cold and chilly, but you are still wearing your shorts and t-shirt.
Yes. Anything that you do that other people aren't doing. Yes. Level C2, by the way, is a good level. So that's good to know.
Oh, I see.
Probably.
Yes, I think C2 is good for I think that is about
means it's hard or a high level. So thank you very much. Thank you very much. I nearly deleted somebody there or blocked somebody by pressing on the screen.
So something that's nonconformist is something that does not fit in or maybe goes the opposite way to what everyone else is doing. I suppose you might say that we are nonconformists in many senses of the word. But also here on YouTube, because we're different, you see. We don't follow the trends on YouTube. Now, Steve made a very interesting point earlier about algorithms on the internet. And the thing nowadays is algorithms on YouTube are very precise with how they recommend videos on the site. They are very precise, and sometimes they are too precise. And that is one of the reasons why quite often that this live stream is not shared by YouTube, because people are watching a certain type of English lesson. And so the YouTube analytics and also the algorithms will assume that everyone wants to watch that type of English lesson. So that's the reason why sometimes you can actually slowly disappear from YouTube. And that's what's happened to us over the last couple of years because of the algorithms and because of the very specific and definite way that people are now teaching English on YouTube. The algorithms are always going to recommend that type of video, even though there are many other people doing the same thing. So yes, I think that actually comprehends or fits with
reinforces what I was talking about.
Yes,
YouTube only throwing up what it thinks you want to see, or
yes.
the types of. Apparently, there's a Cambridge scale of assessment: A1, A2, B1, B2, C1, C2. See, to me, A1 would be the best, because if you say in English parlance, if you say something is A1, you say that means it's the best.
Yes.
And if you get marked on a paper A, that's supposed to be a high mark. So
Yes.
it must be the Cambridge scale must be reversed.
See, I thought you were talking about some sort of like maybe some sort of chemical or something. I didn't realise, but yes, I thought it was something to do with air or oxygen.
Well, somebody else has suggested, is it CO2?
Yes, but now
Which
it's
is carbon
the
dioxide.
grade of certain exams that are
Yes.
carried out by various different organisations.
But it's interesting, though, isn't it? Because if you got a grade C at school, that would be very average. A is what you want, but obviously the Cambridge scale, it must be something different, where it's somehow in a bizarro world.
Yes, that's
C is better than A.
well. Now I understand what the concept or the what you're actually talking about. I actually realise now. Yes, it's proficiency. So it actually refers to the proficiency of the English speaker. So I think C2 means you are proficient, not an expert, but you are proficient. So yes, that's not necessarily a bad thing. That's pretty good, actually. That's pretty good, actually.
We're happy with C2. We're happy with that. Yeah.
I'm happy with it.
Yeah.
I'm very happy. Another reason why I'm happy is because it's almost time to go into the kitchen and have a cup of tea,
But
no tea cake.
for the first time ever in the history of live streams, we will not be having a tea cake
No tea cake.
with our cup of tea.
No, I might have something else.
So maybe a biscuit. Right. C4 is explosive, whatever that is, right? It's the highest level qualification provided by Cambridge Assessment English and shows that learners have mastered English to an exceptional level. We probably should have known that, AD, but there we go. But there is a C4, so let's see, although Marshmallow says there isn't, let's see if we can create a new grade, a C3.
Yes.
Right, Mr. Duncan, do you want me to go and put the kettle on?
Yes, Steve will now go. We will leave you with a little view of Mr. Steve's lovely dahlias.
They're as tall as me.
They've gone crazy. I don't know what's happened this year with your lovely flower.
I've given them lots and lots of plant food
Oh,
this year, more than normal. Every week I've been giving them plant food,
yes.
whereas normally I would only give it once a month. So I'm sure there's little insects in your studio, Mr. Duncan. Oh, right. Lewis says I could send you a bit of pizza.
Oh, that sounds nice.
Yes, is it one of your wife's homemade pizzas?
I like the sound of that.
Which you've spoken about before. That does sound nice. We'll just get on a quick plane. We might have to self-isolate for a week when we come back. I'm not sure what the rules are for visiting France at the moment.
I don't think anyone
but
knows.
Certainly it was last week.
No one knows.
But right, Lovely to be here. I hope I haven't annoyed Mr. Duncan too much today.
You haven't annoyed me at all.
I look forward to seeing you all, assuming Mr. Duncan lets me on,
Yes.
again next week.
Yes, I will let you on. What?
Good to know.
Why would I not let you on? I don't understand.
Well, you know,
Stop playing the
there were
victim.
certain comments earlier that
Steve is
hurt. Really hurt.
Steve is trying to be a victim, you see. That's what everyone is doing nowadays. Oh, please. Oh, the world is against me. Oh, please give me attention because the world is against me.
YouTube's against me. It's the algorithms. No one can see me anymore.
That's very
Who's that?
That's very unfair. Oh, see you next week.
See you next week, or never again. I like the way you cut me off there, Mr. Duncan.
I didn't cut you off, Mr. Steve. I did not cut Steve off. I will have none of that. Slander. Saying something that is not true is slander. Yes, it's almost time to go. I can't believe it. It's almost time to say goodbye. I hope you've enjoyed today's live stream. It's been unusual, different. We've talked about a lot of subjects, a lot of topics, and I hope you've enjoyed what you have seen. I will see you next Sunday. Don't forget, next Sunday, 2 p.m. UK time. And of course, next Sunday, it is a new month. August will arrive next Sunday, which means also my birthday will be on its way. Oh dear. So I will see you next Sunday from 2 p.m. And don't forget, there will also be... What? There will also be a new lesson published on my YouTube channel on Wednesday as well. So on Wednesday there will be a new lesson, and next Sunday I will be back with you with more of this. I hope you've enjoyed it. Thank you very much for your company today. This is Mr. Duncan in the birthplace of English saying thanks for watching. See you soon. Take care. Keep that smile upon your face as you move amongst the human race. See you very soon. And of course, you know what's coming next. Yes, you do. Ta-ta for now.